Hey everybody, got some changes in store. Alright, so it's started a new week, and ordinarily we'd be starting our usual what's sold format and just jettisoning off through the week of things that have sold. However, I am under the impression that you guys have a pretty good idea of what we sell, and I know it's probably getting a little boring because it's soul sensitive. It's probably getting a little boring because it's cabbie, postcard, cabbie, postcard, paper, photos, postcard, over and over again. And you know, I don't mind doing it. I don't mind filming it. I love it. However, I figured time would be better spent talking about some of these things rather than just showing them to you, giving you kind of a brief idea of why, and then moving on to the next one. And we sell a lot of the like things. So going over 30 postcards in a day or 16 Cabbage Patches with slight variations isn't really going to help you guys better grow your business. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to highlight a few things. It's today's Monday, March 20th, so it's all the sales from over the weekend. And I know the lighting looks a little different in here because we have the sun, which is an unusual thing to see in Pittsburgh. So I got the drapes open a little bit in here to let some sunlight in, get a little vitamin D. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to change a few things up. We're going to have a nice discussion about some of these things and how you can find them. So, without further ado, we did sell things on Poshmark and eBay over the weekend. eBay, grand total of 32 things going out. Poshmark, grand total of 5 things going out, which is actually pretty good for us, considering Poshmark's been a little slow. But dollar-wise, you know, the biggest problem with the what's sold is that the vast majority of things we're selling is under $10, and that was kind of the cutoff. But in the same respect, everything under $10, there's tons of it. So we'll be here for hours if I go over all of it. So I'm just going to highlight a few of these things, show you kind of what my take is on all of them and why they sold, maybe why they took a while to sell, things of that nature. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Starting with a sale on Poshmark. This is a good example of someone who doesn't know a lot about shoes trying to sell shoes. And when I bought these, I thought they would sell a little quicker, but they did not. These are Nike Axiom Air Team sneakers. And to me, they look kind of Jordan-y. They're kind of unique. They're shiny, so forth and so forth. But these have some condition issues. That, first of all, the inside is well used. The outside is not, which is interesting to me, and I think that's why they got so much attention. These have made a couple trips to the flea market, and nobody really wanted to pay the money for them. Most people thought they were Jordans and would pick them up and go, ooh, and then they realized they weren't. But yeah, these took quite a while for us to sell. I think we've had them for like 6 or 8 months or something like that. But yeah. And eventually, they did sell. $30 plus shipping on Poshmark. They are size 13, so they actually would have fit me, but I don't know. They're not my style. A little flashy for me. But, yeah, it just goes to show you that even stuff like this, that's really popular, if you don't know what you're doing, which I'm not a big shoe guy. We don't sell a lot of shoes, and most of that's because we can't really find them around here. I mean, we can find them. I take that back. We can find them. Like I can buy Jordans all day at a couple of thrift stores that are near our house, but I wouldn't make any money because, I'm buying them for $60, $80 and selling them for $90. So, yeah, it really wouldn't be worth my time to source Jordans in this area. But yeah, these I think we found at a thrift store. They might have been half off. I mean, they're in okay shape. There's no dry rotting with them. For those of you that don't know, if you bend them, and you see cracks or anything there, that's where you can get some dry rotting. But no dry rotting. They're just well loved on the inside only. On the outside, they're fine. So whoever owned them prior to us took very good care of these shoes on the outside. So, anyways, $30 plus shipping for those. Something else we don't talk about enough. Pick it up. And we do a lot of this. Just because, when you're sourcing at thrift stores, you kind of have to find things that the store doesn't know is worth money. That's the easiest way to say it. Because the common stuff like video games and, Nikes, Jordans, things of that nature, they're going to know, and they're probably going to do some research, and they'll probably do some bad research, and they'll price it at whatever eBay is selling it for, or what people are selling it for on eBay. This is one of the things that we find at thrift stores that, they don't really pay much attention to. These are old vintage sheets. They're probably from, I'd say, the 70s, maybe 60s. Why people have these still in bags in their house is beyond me. I guess I kind of understand maybe having some in backup, but we find tons of these. And some of the times we find tons of them that are the exact pattern. And it's almost like people were expecting to not be able to get this sheet again. So they bought a bunch of them. But yeah, these are, what are these? These are Burlington House. The most popular brand and the most selling brand on eBay would be Canon, and they typically look a little different than this. But these are white with just this little embroidered pattern, so these aren't worth as much as some of the other ones. But they are new in the pack. This does have a little tiny rip in it, so you do want to be cautious if you're buying stuff like this and they're ripped. You want to make sure there's no, bugs or dust or, rat poo or whatever that can get into this bag. But these are in pretty good shape. And they sold. And we sell a bunch of this stuff. We if you've watched these What Sold videos, we sell a ton of them. So, yeah, there you go. Made in the USA sheets. $12. But I ship it. Next thing we're going to talk about, I'm not going to call it a bolo for many reasons. I don't really like that term, to be perfectly honest with you. Not because it's, it gets thrown around a lot. And I think some things everybody knows to be on the lookout for. I think some things people say are bolos and they're really not. But I don't know where you're going to come across these. We lucked out, I guess. And we put this off for quite a while. It took us a while to list it because we, like most people, didn't think they were worth all that much money. But and they're not individually. But the way we would sell them, like this. If you watch the live, you know what this is. These are photo negatives from a photo studio. So what happened was we were at an auction, an in-person auction, which we don't go to very often because the one that we used to go to all the time doesn't really have that much paper anymore, and that's what we're mainly interested in. So what ended up happening was that whoever sold all this stuff or gave it to the auction to sell bought out an old photo studio in Beaver, Pennsylvania, which is north of us. And we bought out the vast majority of photos. They had some wrestling photos, like actual pro wrestlers that went for way bigger money. So that was the only portion of the lot that we didn't get. We ended up spending a couple $100 on this lot as a whole, but we've way made that back on all these photos because there was photos that were used in newspapers. There was photos that were used in certain publications. There were family photos. There were portraits. There was all kinds of stuff. And we sold tons of it. And we put off selling these negatives. And these are the negatives right here. They're in like this wax paper. They're in, and they're all in pretty good shape. Because they kept them kind of filed away in these boxes that we have. And so what Sarah did was we have a light board. She got the light board, put them all down on the light board, took pictures of them, and then we sold them in lots. And someone came through and bought I think they bought more than that. I think they bought one additional. Oh, no, they didn't. Somebody else bought 2 additional. So we've got several lots of 100. So 100 photo negatives. And some of them are the holidays and weddings. We got Mohawk Park, Lake Erie, Bourbon Street, portraits and weddings, children, family portraits, people in subjects and people, things like that. So we lotted them up into these like lots. So there's several lots of 100, 1, 2, 3, 4 lots of 100, and then there's a couple lots of 60 and 20 and 50. So, you know, using likes, a little smaller lots. But anyway, someone came through and bought all of these, 7 of them to be exact, for $78. And if you watch the live, you watch this whole deal kind of unfold, because originally they offered us $50 for all these, and we were like, no. But yeah, $78. We were asking 90 something, so we gave them a little bit of a deal, but $78. We've already been in the pure profit for this lot by a while now, because I think we spent $150 on all of it. So yeah, photo negatives, old photo negatives. Would I recommend going out and buying those like 8mm photo negatives that, you know, the 90s and 80s babies grew up with? Maybe. I mean, they probably would sell. But would these sell a little bit better? These are kind of like big square negatives, probably. The old black and white photos would probably be. Where you would find them? I don't know. You'd have to find an old photo studio that's going out of business, or somebody who was a photographer and kept all their negatives. It would definitely be worth your time, I can tell you that. But yeah, photo negatives, who would have thought? Since we're on the photos, we'll talk about this again. I think we briefly discussed this in a What's Sold video, but another thing we sold a lot of are slides. Little Kodak slide. These are great. Whenever you went over somebody's house and they wanted to show you their family vacation. Do people do that anymore? Do you? No, probably not, because it just goes on Facebook, right, or Instagram or something like that. But yeah, back in the day, we used to have slideshows. Bore your family with, look at the kids at Disney World. And what I'm doing is pressing a button, because that's how you went to the next slide. And this big thing was awful. But yeah, these sell. This is a New Orleans Bourbon Street. Same photographer. Just made a few of them into slides. So we've had slides from said photographer for a while. Again, something we procrastinated on, and we probably should have put these up a lot sooner. We are selling them for $25. So you've got a lot of 35 slides from 1979 of Bourbon Street in New Orleans. Doesn't look like that anymore. So people, you know, want to kind of look back, and that's what this works out so well. But $25 for 55 slides, pretty good. Again, how are you going to find something like this? I don't know. Because most of this stuff ends up in the trash. Most people, you know, when family members pass, or when people, you know, start selling off estates and things of that nature, this kind of stuff they think is worthless. So they're just right in the trash. But it's not. It's not worthless. In fact, it sells pretty well. 55 slides for $25 is pretty good. And we probably have a quarter into this. So. Slides. Let's talk about some postcards, shall we? I am continually amazed with what sells on postcards. I can't figure it out. I'm going to do a video about it, and I'm going to act like a complete moron, because I don't know why some of these sell. I'm just going to be perfectly upfront honest with you. Some of these make no sense to me whatsoever, and then some of them make perfect sense. Well, that was fun. Somebody came to the front door right mid-discussion, so that's why this is going to be edited, because it is. So something that makes total sense in the postcard world to me is this. Doesn't look like much, I know. But this is Manishma is the name of the area in Martha's Vineyard Island. But this is a real photo. Somebody took this photo from an airplane, which makes it even more impressive, especially back then, and put it on a postcard and then mailed it to somebody. Right there. Can I read any of this? No. I won't be able to come down for every one weekend this summer. Everyone asks you. We have plenty of room and would love to have you come. Keep cool. Eminem. Whatever that is. Or maybe it's mom. I don't know. They could be mom. Looks like an and sign to me. Anyways, yeah, somebody took this picture and then put it on a postcard and mailed it. So it's a real photo postcard, for one. And so it's pretty much one of a kind. It doesn't exist anywhere else. So they're worth some really good money. This one postcard sold for $22 plus shipping. So pretty good for something I got a penny or so into it. Now let's get into my confusion. If you watch the live, a couple of these made an appearance. This is canoeing on Lake Susan in Montreat, North Carolina. A couple things I know from selling postcards is North Carolina stuff sells really well. Why? I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Maybe a lot of postcards weren't made from North Carolina. Maybe there's just a lot of postcards or postcard people in North Carolina. I have no idea. But this, to me, looks like, I don't know, it's a canoe. It's people in a canoe on a lake. Why would you care? Something like this makes sense to me. Boise? Well, maybe I live in Boise. Maybe I want this on my wall. Maybe I'm trying to collect all the cities and states I can get my hands on. This, with a canoe, I don't know. Still sold. What do we sell a canoe for? $3.75. This one kind of makes sense to me, but it's just old pontoon boats. No description of where it is. It just says pontoon boat, a new mode of water fun. It doesn't say where it is, but if you're into boats or old or new boats, I could see why someone would collect this. Anyways, $4 plus shipping. This one, Pyramid Motel. This makes sense because people like old motels. So that one makes sense. A lot of sense. You'll find that a lot of people are kind of onto that though. So you'll see a lot of the same. And back then, something like this might just be sitting in your room when you get a room at this motel. So they might have given you this postcard. It might just be sitting there, with a pen and piece of paper and some pieces of paper. So there's a lot of these in the marketplace, from my understanding. Yeah, hotel postcard. Last one we're going to talk about is this one here. If you saw the live, you saw this thing. It's a chairlift taking people up to the top of the mountain. Yes, that looks like Colonel Sanders. And yes, that thing looks terrifying in every way, shape, and form. I don't want to be on it. I would have never even thought about getting on it. Anyways, yeah, this is a Gold City in Franklin, North Carolina. Gold City's like the amusement park. It was like a Wild West style amusement park where they had an actual gem mine and an actual gold mine that you could go and mine for gems, or you could go and pan for gold in North Carolina. So that's what it is. This is the chairlift that takes you up to the mountain, I guess. Terrifying in every way, but a really, really cool postcard. And this one I knew would sell quickly because, it's just awesome. $7 for this one plus shipping. So we're going to do these in sections depending on the week. There might be 3 videos, there might be 2, there might be 1. Who knows? If we got enough to discuss, it'll be on here. If it doesn't, it'll be maybe a little less. But this is going to be the end of the first one. If you made it this far, you should hit the like button. I'd appreciate that. And if you really want to see more of this and you love it, drop a comment in the comment section, because I'm curious to know if you guys like this format a little better, or if you want me to just go back to the show everything, the 35 cabbies a week, and just go back to how I was doing it. Let me know in the comments below. I'd appreciate that. And, if you like me, hit the subscribe button. That would be helpful. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Good day, sir!